I've been thinking a lot about food lately. I'm not talking about what I'm gonna make for dinner. I'm talking about how much money I've been spending on groceries, how much food continues to go to waste, and how much food at the grocery store is also going to waste instead of making it into the kitchens of people who need it. That's something food banks have been trying to solve for decades, and an Edmonton-area school is also joining in on the effort.
So these are the apple pies that we will give back to the food bank.
The local food bank takes food that would otherwise go to waste and gives it to the local culinary program at the high school. So it could be things that are past their prime, things like ripe bananas, or maybe it's in a quantity that doesn't work for individual households. So think of bone-in hams, for example. The students then turn it into baked goods or soups. Then the food bank takes those products and distributes it to their clients.
We're gonna go into the kitchen. Everybody, phones away. I feel like even just 15 years ago, there's a lot of stigma around food waste and donated food that's past its best before date, and all of that is slowly starting to come out to the forefront, and that's really important.
Do you know much about food waste?
Yeah.
What's your understanding of food waste?
So there's inefficiencies at the entire sort of chain, from restaurants to farms to households, and sometimes products are just not meeting to a standard that is just visual, right? And good food gets thrown out because it's not appealing enough, or because it has some sort of blemish, or sometimes it's just like a shape that they don't like.
We took, in the span of 2 weeks, 3 cases, so 50 pounds times 3 of bananas.
So the apples are from the food bank, the potatoes are?
Yes,
Yep.
Those were donated as well.
Was it your idea to work with the food bank?
I have always had it in the back of my mind, but it kind of actually came out from a collaborative effort on a eco summit that was put on by the Strathcona Waste Management System. So our program came in and made food for 200 people using food that was all donated by farmers or the food bank or other grocers.
And that's how you were thinking, I wonder how I could
Can we keep
apply
this going? Yeah.
Wow.
So I made connections with the food bank through that and said, can we keep doing this? And I think we're just at the right time, right place.
There's not only a demand, but a need to reevaluate just how much food is wasted at every level of production. More than 50% of the food produced in Canada is either lost, so it doesn't make it onto delivery trucks or store shelves because maybe it wasn't picked in time or it's an odd shape, or it is wasted. And it's estimated that more than 30% of that food could be rescued at some point of production. While food waste is an issue that has environmental and economic impacts, it really just comes down to people. 4 million Canadians struggle to have healthy food. 4 million people. Edmonton's food bank has been trying to bridge that gap for decades. It was Canada's first food bank. I spoke with Tamazin Benz-Knight, who has been there almost since day one. What has changed the most when it comes to food waste?
The fact that it is now cool to talk about. It's really good that people are paying attention and looking around and seeing what they can reduce. So definitely the food industry itself has made great strides as organizations and companies. And then how it gets diverted to us is wonderful.
When you think about the kind of food that the food bank accepts and has accepted, I mean, when it comes to fresh items, that's really, I mean, it's expanded, hasn't it? Like, I mean, let's head over. Do you mind if we head over and check in with you?
That'd be wonderful.
So interested to see, this is a big space.
Oh yeah, no, we're very fortunate. Our freezer can hold 88 pallets. Our coolers combined can hold 136 pallets of fresh food. Dawn, do you mind opening up our door cooler? So if you want to grab one side, I'll grab the other. So all of this stuff in this cooler right now is all gleaned food that we got from the food industry. So it's not marketable, but perfectly edible food, because everybody hears about food banks and they only think of packaged dry goods.
Speaking of non-packaged dry goods, pallet upon pallet of strawberries.
Oh my gosh, they're really good. Look, there's nothing wrong with them. So just somebody might have gotten another pallet of strawberries, and then they saw this one. They know they're not going to sell it at a grocery store. It could be a trucking company where this isn't a full pallet, so some of it's missing. Some of it might have tipped, and somebody's not going to sign for it and pay for it.
Right, okay.
It's part of the whole commodity system. But again, instead of going to landfills, this will go into hampers. This will provide for people. Our agency partners, from schools to daycares that are serving vulnerable people, they will be able to use these.
Smaller food banks, like the one in Strathcona County, which is just outside of Edmonton, are also seeing an increase in fresh products. That's why the partnership with Salisbury High School is so important. They not only hope it can grow, they need it to.
Our food bank would love to have a commercial kitchen in the future so that we're able to use our facilities and skills to make sure that all food is repurposed, but we would also be able to continue our relationship with high schools and with SAL into the future.
Thanks, Miranda.
You're welcome.
Okay.
See you next week. Howden thinks they have enough food for 4 or 5 more schools to get involved. Think of how much more food waste could be reduced. There are also the valuable skills the students are learning.
So we're gonna use this one. You can take that and heat it up on the stove. They like that they're actually doing something that is helpful to the outside community and not just for the sake of cooking. So it is that full circle learning cycle of where my food comes from, how to cook it, and then what do we do with it after? Usually when you cook, you're cooking for somebody else. So this is just a really great way for them to start feeling that responsibility as well. So they're gonna go in that box with the bananas on it by Jackson.
Let's say 10 years. How much of a difference do you think there's going to be in the amount of food waste we have?
I think it's pretty drastically gonna go down, right? Because there's a lot more people taking a lot more concern into it, not just because of concern for like others, but also because it's wasting money to chuck away food, you know?
Maybe we won't even have to wait 10 years for that to happen. Because while reducing food waste is the ultimate goal, talking about it and learning about it are going to help us get there.